Good morning, Wabash. Today, speaking at Pioneer Chapel is Coach Lincoln Kyle with his talk entitled, Here and Now, The Importance of a Journey. Lincoln Kyle is an assistant wrestling coach here at Wabash College. He hails from the small town of Alexandria, Indiana, which is about an hour and a half east of Crawfordsville. During high school, Lincoln competed in football and wrestling. He continued pursuing his love of wrestling at Wabash College as a student athlete in 2013 and was an active member of War Council, a SAC representative, and an RA in Martindale Hall. Lincoln graduated in 2017 with a bachelor's degree in religion, minoring in history and education. Following graduation, he moved to North Carolina for a year to work as director of operations for the wrestling team at Campbell University. Lincoln returned to Wabash in April of 2018 to begin coaching. Coach Kyle's special skills include and are limited to quoting The Office. When he isn't with his athletes, family, or friends, you can find him watching The Office or Game of Thrones with his hedgehog, Miles. Before he gets into his talk, Lincoln wanted me to pass along two reminders. First, the final Game of Thrones season is just 20 days away. Second, do your taxes. They're due the next day. We all know which reminder is more important, but taxes matter too. Please join me in welcoming Coach Kyle.
So real quick, Game of Thrones is actually 17 days away now, so that means taxes is 18 days away. Good morning, Wabash. I'd like to start off by thanking Frank Russell, Parker Knoll, and the Sphinx Club for inviting me to give this chapel talk, and to all of you for being here to listen. I feel honored to have been asked. At first, I almost said no. I told Frank I didn't feel qualified. I mean, I'm 24 years old and definitely don't have it all figured out. Not that one must have it all figured out to give a chapel talk, but to follow individuals such as Coach Keller, Cassie Hagan, Rick Warner, Michelle Pittard, and Mark Elizondo, and many others made me ask why I should be up here. I have to give a big shout out to my roommates, Alejandro Reyna, Dan Burke, Eric Moore, Haley Blonsley, and Adele Bacan for convincing me that I had something worth saying to you, and for helping me pick out a title. Picking out the title might have been harder than writing the whole entire speech. To say that I'm very grateful for being invited up here is an understatement. I hope that I'm able to follow those that have given talks before me. I think it is important not to forget those that have come before you and have laid the foundation for you to achieve what you want. This place is bigger than any one individual, and I think that should not be forgotten. Before I get too far into this talk, I recommend that you turn your cell phones to silent. To be clear, this is not for my benefit. If your cell phone went off during my talk, I wouldn't mind too much. It might even help calm my nerves a little bit. The reason I ask you, not tell you, to silence your phone is for your benefit. One of the most valuable skills that I took away from Wabash College came from Dr. Spencer in Music 107 my senior year. I learned how to be present. This is one of those lessons that your parents, teachers, coaches, and mentors, etc., have been trying to teach you your entire life, but you didn't listen. I'm sure my parents have told me this several times while growing up, but at the time, I was obviously smarter than they were and definitely knew better than them, so why would I listen to what they had to say? For some reason, during the second semester, on a Monday morning at 9 a.m. in the Fine Arts Center, in a 100-level music class surrounded by mostly other seniors, I finally listened. Despite the fact that my focus wasn't that great and I was preoccupied on the next phase of my life and what my summer plans were, my mindset changed. Dr. Spencer had been stressing the importance of being present in every moment, especially during the upcoming field trip to listen to a symphony, which was less than a week away. At the time, I thought to myself, well, of course I'm going to be present. It's part of my grade to go. But there was more to what he meant by being present. And I can't quote him word for word, but here's the philosophy or idea that I took away from what he said. Being fully present in today's world is very difficult. Everyone in here is super busy. Everyone is thinking about something else that they have to do. Some of you are in here because you are interested in what I have to say, and some of you are just in here because you feel like it's an obligation. Whatever the case may be, I suggest that you try and be fully present. Don't think about what you have to do the rest of the day. Don't worry about texting that person back or checking your email. That will still be there when this is all over. And I don't mean to sound selfish or as though I am demanding your attention. I think we should approach all areas of life like this. How many times do we miss something while at a sporting event or at a talk or whatever it may be because we're on our phone or thinking about something else? I think it is a difficult skill, but I think it is an important one to try and master. It will not only make you feel better, but other people will notice when you're engaged. It makes a big difference. So now that I have your attention, or maybe I don't, here's what I would like to talk about. We live in a society that is very focused on outcomes. The majority of us were very focused on getting good grades and test scores in high school so that we could get into the college of our choice. The same thing is true here. We were working hard to get good grades so at the end of it all, we can get the sheepskin with our name on it, indicating we graduated from Wabash College. It's not a bad mindset to have. In fact, you should strive to get good grades. You should want to do well on all your tests. Having goals is great. Goals help you strive to become who you are. Visualization is also a good thing. We tell our athletes all the time to visualize themselves accomplishing their goals. That way, when they get to that moment, they've been there before. It's not new to them. The problem is when people are so consumed by their goals. Their goals are all they think about. People focus on the moment and when they finally get there and not where they are. People focus so much on the outcome that they forget to do what is necessary to achieve it. You see this all the time in wrestling or football or any other sport or even in the classroom. People are focused on the final score and worried about winning that they forget they have to score, they have to defend in order to win. How many times have you seen a wide receiver drop a pass because he takes his eye off the ball to look at the end zone? In the classroom, I'm sure several of us have been so focused on turning that test in and getting it done that we have forgotten to do the problem on the back page. These are just small examples of what focusing on outcomes instead of living exactly in the moment can do. Also, focusing solely on the future can be harmful because your end goal is never guaranteed. I truly hope that all of you reach your goals in life, and I want you all to be successful. But at the end of the day, we all need to remember that success is not promised, and the success we achieve is not always what we planned for. Take my experiences as a wrestler. My goal in high school was to be a state placer. I went to a small high school where wrestling hadn't been the most successful sport, but a group of us decided we would work hard together to be the best wrestlers that had ever gone through our program. Looking back, I think we did complete this goal. But as an individual, I never made it to the state tournament. I lost in the ticket round, which is the match that determines whether you go to the state tournament or not. And in that moment, I started to think back of all the things I could have done differently. The times I sat around instead of doing a few extra reps at the end of practice. The corners I cut during a run to get done quicker. The set I skipped in the weight room when no one was looking. Was I living in the moment in those times, or was I just going through the motions? Was I wishing I was somewhere else and doing something different? You think back to those times where you weren't living in the moment. You were just going through the motions. Those moments are the ones you didn't think were important when actually they were the most important. Those moments live with you forever. Maybe I deserved the outcome I received, but there are times when you literally will do everything perfect and things still don't go your way. My sophomore year of college, one of my best friends was a senior here at Wabash. He had already been a two-time All-American. He had placed 7th and 4th. This was going to be the year he won it. I remember waking up every morning to do a workout with him in the beginning of the season. I remember he and his brother ate perfectly the entire season. They would sleep right, they studied right, they lived what I like to call a championship lifestyle. They did everything in their power to make sure they were going to reach their goals at the end of the year. The end of the year came, and my friend was undefeated in Division III competition. He made it all the way to the finals at the national tournament. Unfortunately, he came up just short and got 2nd place. He did everything right and still fell short. At that time in my life, it didn't seem fair. How could someone as dedicated and hardworking as he is come up short? Well, I've learned that's just how it happens sometimes. And let me tell you something, it's perfectly all right. Failure is a good thing. Failure is something that you can learn from when you're living in the moment. Failure is part of the journey. It's not the end, but just another opportunity for you to better yourself. I think I'm a great example of this. My story of how I got here isn't a story of great successes, but a story of many failures that I learned from. I had to adapt. My plan changed, and I'm very happy with where I am now. Coming into college, I had the mindset I was going to accomplish what I couldn't in high school. I had come up short, and I was going to use this to my advantage. I was quickly met with obstacles that would not allow me to accomplish these goals. My freshman year, I tore my labrum for the second time. When this happens, your shoulder keeps dislocating until the injury is repaired. I received the surgery, but I was never the same after that. When it came to competition, I just didn't have the mental edge that I used to have. At first, I wasn't living in the moment. I started to think about how I wasn't going to accomplish the goals that I had set. I started to get down on myself and think of my short time here at Wabash as a failure. It got to the point where I thought about not wrestling anymore and even transferring. Luckily, I was able to regain my focus and realize that I would be able to become a better person in other ways. I was able to adapt based on my circumstances. I remember talking with Coach Irwin, who was an assistant coach at the time, towards the end of my sophomore year. I asked him what he thought about me being a college coach someday. He said that he thought I had the right tools to do it, and he thought I would make a good college coach. I made this a goal of mine. It might not have been what I wanted to do right away, but I knew that it was something I wanted to do later in life. I continued to work hard. I showed up to every workout. I showed up to the coach's office every day to talk with the coaches or ask them to give me work. I had this goal that was so far away, but I realized that I needed to be present. I had to accomplish what was right in front of me, and then everything else would take care of itself. It would have been super easy to give up once I decided I wasn't going to be able to reach my goal. But achieving our goals doesn't define who we are. I myself am not defined by whether I placed at the state tournament or not. My buddy's identity is not three-time All-American and national runner-up. All of the accolades and trophies and grades are awesome, but they do not define who we are. What defines who we are is what we did in the journey leading up to those moments. So many people, especially athletes, I feel as though they have failed when things didn't end up going as planned. They come up short and they can't get over it. These are the people that overlook the importance of the process of getting there. The journey is just as important, if not more important, than the destination. I think people forget this. I'm surrounded by a lot of people who have done a lot of great things, but I am not less of a person because I didn't accomplish those same things. I didn't get where I am today because of the things that I've accomplished. The same is true for them. There are things that I have done and experienced that they have not. This does not mean I'm better than them in any way. I am the man I am today because I didn't just go through the motions. I made sure to be present. I am who I am because of the different values, characteristics, and skills that were instilled in me through living in the moment. I am who I am today because I trusted in the process. I knew that the journey was important to me. There were times where I didn't have any control over what was going to happen in my future. I had no idea what the outcome would be. In those times, it is important not to look ahead. Live in the moment and trust those that are helping you. You don't have to go through the journey alone. The people that are part of your journey are very important, and they want what's best for you, whether you believe so or not. Your professors, coaches, parents, mentors, etc. have been in your shoes before, or they have dealt with similar situations. Trust in the advice that they are giving you. Trust what they are having you do. They want to see you become good men and women, and they want you to become successful. Remember, it's the day-to-day things that make you successful. It's paying attention during a lecture in a religion course, even though you're a biology major. It's taking the time to make sure every rep in practice is perfect, even though you've already done 1,000 reps. It's being diligent and working on a paper when you'd rather be on your phone or playing video games. And it's acknowledging that you constantly have to work on being present. And I'm still working on it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't keep pushing writing back this paper to watch The Office and New Girl. Like all things in life, it is something you have to work at. At the end of the day, it isn't the big moments in our life that determine who we are. We are defined by how we live day to day. It's how we act in the moment. It's who you are during the journey. That's what people remember because that's who you are and that's what defines you. Small moments matter most, and all those moments of hard work and being present will help you get where you want in life. So remember to live in the moment. Here and now is what is important. Focus on today. Focus on being present and putting your time and effort into what's right in front of you. It will pay off. Planning and looking ahead can be helpful, but looking too far ahead makes it easy to forget what is important today. So I leave you with this challenge. Be present in every moment. It can be challenging in our very busy lives, but it is vital for individual growth. I believe it is one of the most important characteristics an individual can have. So benefit those around you and benefit yourself. Focus on the here and now. Thanks.